Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Crypto Market Update. December 20th, 2024, foul year of our Lord, the day of the great dippening. We thought we experienced the dippity dip on December 10th. We thought we experienced the great dip on December 5th during the flash crash. But nothing could have prepared us to witness the catastrophic drop of Bitcoin to prices not seen since November. Yeah, it's almost indescribable. You know, the absolute catastrophe of prices not seen for about 5 weeks. It's hard to stomach. I really don't know if I will ever possibly, conceivably come back from this loss. It's just Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a great show for you guys today. As always, we are going to be arming you with the strategies, the analysis, the tools and tricks that you need to more confidently and profitably navigate the cryptocurrency markets. Before we begin, a little bit of housekeeping. Well, let's just start off. Let's talk about things. We've obviously had a big pullback. Altcoins completely obliterated. All right, altcoins completely obliterated. You know, there is a member in our community. Messaging. He's very smart, very great analysis. He's done extremely well in cryptocurrency. And every day I get a message. It's like, I don't think there's a bottom in altcoins. And then the next day, definitely no bottom in altcoins. And then the next day, nope. Literally the bottom does not exist. There's no such thing as a bottom in altcoins. It's just a bottomless pit to the downside. So, but listen, guys, where there is great pain, there is great opportunity. All right. And for those who are willing to take the risks, I think great opportunities are on the horizon. Great tactical trade signals have appeared. We have been a little bit, as soon as back to where it was, we have been, I have attempted a few altcoin trades over the last couple of days. Those have largely not played out. I've been a little bit too early on those. And because of that, I'm very thankful for my money management and risk management practices. Don't delete my account when I have a losing trade. I have a 2% loss, which is okay when I'm up quite a bit on this year. So that's all good, but it pays to be aggressive. All right. I don't think any of the fundamentals have changed, but we are going to today. In today's show, we talked a lot about the FOMC yesterday. We talked about a lot about the FOMC a Wednesday leading up to the FOMC rate cut decision. And then we talked ad nauseum a lot yesterday about a lot of macro factors, such as overall, why did the market dip? What was it exactly about what Powell's positioning and the Fed's positioning kind of caused these headwinds against cryptocurrency that contributed to not only this, but also the traditional markets de-risking? And what was the main cause of that? And we covered all of that yesterday, where we talked about essentially, even though there were some dovish things that happened, for example, we got a rate cut. That was good. One thing that is often overlooked and wasn't really laid out very clearly was their decision on the reverse repo rates. They made the decision to lower the bottom of the repo rate to the bottom of their target range, which Powell said was their policy, but that is not. It has always been 0.05 above the bottom rate. So this creates a disincentivization for banks to hold funds in the reverse repo market. And that's about $100 billion that we get pushed back out to the banks, which could be viewed as a form of stimulus. But I digress. That's not a huge, terrible amount of stimulus, but the primary thing, the reason the market puked, if we want to ascribe reason or meaning or causality to the Fed's decision, which I certainly would be the lack of dovishness, the hawkishness on what's coming for the future. Remember, markets are a psychological and emotional thing. They really are, right? It's not, as I explained yesterday, the Fed is not some sort of puppet master that controls the cogs and machinations of the economy with their edicts. What they do is they affect confidence. They affect sentiment around the markets, and markets are sentiment driven, particularly cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is momentum and sentiment driven. All markets are, but of course, cryptocurrency is just probably one of the best examples of that. And so the lack of clarity on the future, right? The movement down from 4 potential rate cuts in 2025 to only 2 rate cuts and then 2 in 2026. That was devastating. And it's that kind of lack of clarity, the waffling on the tariff issues, the waffling on the Bitcoin issue, even though, again, I think it was actually relatively bullish in the long term what he actually said about Bitcoin. These are the kind of things that kind of delete investor confidence, that delete the sentiment, the positive sentiment around the markets. And when positive sentiment around the markets dissipates, markets sell off and de-risk. In addition to this, we asked for this. We wanted this. We wanted Bitcoin to get bigger. We wanted Bitcoin to get institutional adoption. We wanted Bitcoin to become a reserve asset for countries. We wanted Bitcoin to be used as a store of value worldwide. Well, it's impossible for something to get there without becoming married to the traditional finance sector or the whims and follies of the traditional finance asset classes. So here we are. Traditional markets de-risk, Bitcoin de-risks 3x. It's just how it's going to be. All right. Traditional markets pump, Bitcoin's going to pump. We're going to look at a lot of charts today. We're also going to look at kind of we are going to cover, of course, the bearish cases. We're going to look at how these monetary policy decisions by the Fed have really set the bedrock and the foundation for the rallies that we've had thus far throughout 2025. We're going to cover exactly what type of situations from the Fed led to the summer doldrums, and that is a similar situation that we are now experiencing. So, big picture, fundamentals haven't changed. All right. What I think worst case scenario right now is that we've had a delay in the cycle. So potentially we were looking for something like immediate continuation into January 2025. I think that is now going to probably be on hold until we get exactly the same catalyst that we got back in November. Not just the election, that we got back in September that began Bitcoin's push up. And then obviously we went pretty parabolic after the optimistic enthusiasm following a Trump presidency after the election. But it was the economic tailwind of the monetary policy set by the Fed that really initiated the beginning of that pump in the first place. People often forget, but we started moving in September. So we're going to look at exactly what it was that occurred in September to cause that to happen. We're going to look at exactly what happened in March that caused us to enter into a 4-month long consolidation. And then we're going to look at what it was yesterday that potentially might cause the exact same thing. So I just want you to think big picture now, go back to March. Was March the end of the bull market? No, it was not. Okay. Is December going to be the end of the bull market? No, it's not going to be. All right. So my current worst case scenario is that we just have to move our projections forward 1 to 3 months on or until we get a more dovish posture from the Fed and more clarity, particularly around rate cuts. The biggest risk to the economy right now is unemployment because the labor market is stagnant. And I think they are underestimating. I think they're understating the downside risk of the unemployment right now. So we're going to cover all of that and more. We're going to look at the charts. We're going to look for trade opportunities. We're going to passively and calmly just look for opportunities and come up with our investment and trading decisions and plans together. Before we get into all of that, we do this show. We are doing a later afternoon show today because today was my daughter's last day of school. It was early out. I had to plan around that. Things happen. I'm a dad. But we do this show every weekday. We were doing them earlier in the morning. I have officially moved the show back into the afternoon. We are going to be doing our show from 12 to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 1 to 3 p.m. on the Eastern Seaboard. So make sure to tune in for that. If you don't want to miss an episode, please make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you do not miss an episode. We are live streaming on YouTube, Rumble, and X. If you do not want to see the ads, you can, of course, subscribe to YouTube Premium and Rumble Premium. You will skip the ads and you do help support the channel. Like today's video, please. It helps out more than you could possibly know. I think in today's day and age of LARPers, of 10x callers, of, everybody just posting, win porn and not real fundamentals who don't actually know how to trade, they're all quiet right now. I'm not really seeing all of these LARPers posting, making content, but I will be here every single day through the good, through the bad, through the bull, through the bear, giving you guys my analysis, my advice, my opinions, and my strategies to hopefully help you be more armed and dangerous in this market. So if you want to support us in that mission, please hit the like button. In addition, we are still running our BYDFi Christmas season trading competition. That is the second link in the description. $2,300 in prizes. We are going to be distributing to people who trade in our trading competition. Top 5 traders will get 80% of that prize pool, and then the other 20% will be distributed to traders who trade over $100 in trading volume and USDT. So go check that out. Second link in the description. If you're not already on BYDFi, that link will give you a automatic VIP level 1 fee advantaged account, 17% off your trading fees, access to over 600 pairs, demo trading, no KYC, no VPN. We love BYDFi. Also, if you like what you see throughout the stream, if you like the strategies, if you like the systems, if you want to learn how we create systems like this, how to create trading strategies like this, if you'd like to trade personally with me, receive my portfolio updates, and have personal mentoring with me every single week, Check out that first link in the description, krakencryptocurrency.com. And a little teaser, because I'm going to post this publicly all over the interwebs later on this evening. We are going to be running a Christmas season special for our Crypto Trading Academy. 30% off annual and monthly memberships. All right. The promo code is going to go live this evening, and it's Santa. All capitals, Santa, S-A-N-T-A, promo code Santa. Use that at checkout, get 30% off any annual or monthly membership to the Crypto Trading Academy. I'll be posting that later on this evening, but tuck that in your pocket. First in the door, you get a cookie. All right. We haven't, Cryptonomics, you haven't missed too much, but let's get into it, guys. All right. A little bit of light music, as always. Tell me if it's too overbearing. And shout outs to our early chatters. Of course, I see Yes to Crypto, Alex81, SG, the man, the myth, the legend, MH, Jordan Stotts, the one and only, Timmy K, Wessy, good to see you, my friend, Nitin, man of many names, Fella Rami, good to see you as well, Mikado, we've got Starman Jack, my friend from AU, Quarter Crawler, good to see you, B-Flow, as always, start posting the real stuff. Oh, my brother from another mother, Cryptonomics. And I do see Laws Cyrus over there on Rumble. Thank you for joining in here. I'm glad it is your first time. I hope it is not your last time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the big picture stuff first. We are going to cover kind of our usual things, and then we are going to go look, as I said, at some of those pivotal Fed decisions that were made throughout 2025 that really have led us to where we are right now. Big picture, where are we at in the overall Bitcoin cycle? We are at the 50th percentile. The vicious, catastrophic, disastrous sell pressure that we've seen over the last 3 days has plummeted price back to levels not seen since 5 weeks ago. And we are still at the 50th percentile of the cycle. Now, I do have to point out the similarities in structure, in look, in taste, and feel, if you will, between maybe what is occurring right here and what occurred over here. And to top that off, this is going to get a double dose of wow, dude, when I get to that Fed chart and show you that what happened here with regards to monetary policy is basically what happened to us on Wednesday. It's basically what happened to us on Wednesday. Therefore, what did we experience back over here when we briefly dipped our beak into the parabolic euphoria phase of the market? We did, over the course of about 161 days, experience about a 30% pullback. So again, that is roughly my worst case scenario right now. We are already halfway through that. We've had about a 15% pullback right now. If we did have that, full on 30% pullback, as many people have said, that's 74,500, that's $75,000 level, which is basically the CME gap, as well to add confluence to this level, is essentially what we would be looking at. Now, keep in mind that this has been the most generous and least vicious Bitcoin bull market that we've ever experienced. The depth of the pullbacks and the frequency of the pullbacks so far in this bull market have been less than any other bull market in history, period, going back to the very first bull market of 2013. So we've been quite fortunate so far this market cycle, especially when you stack this against, for example, the 2020 to 2021 cycle, or even the 2017 cycle, and particularly the 2013, 14, 15 cycle, where we were getting 50% pullbacks, 40% pullbacks pretty much every single month. And I don't, Brando Commando, thank you for the rant over there, brother. Lo Cyrus says, what is the best site to buy crypto in everyone's opinion? Personally, I think that's going to be really dependent on generally where you're at in your country, especially if you want to go from like USD and do USD on ramping. I generally advise, though, my go-to for USD on and off ramping is and always will be Kraken. Kraken is a fantastic exchange. I've been using them since my very first day in crypto. You can on ramp USD there very easily. You can use it in basically every country. They're fantastic. They've been around since absolutely forever. They believe in decentralization and do things the right way. But our official exchange partner is BYDFi. So once you have your crypto and you want access to a bunch of pairs and leverage trading, demo trading, I recommend BYDFi. You can find that link in the description. Let's see here. Okay, so we're back at the 50th percentile of the cycle. We've kind of looked at what is the worst case scenario down to about that $75,000 level. But here's the thing, guys, and this is why panicking is never really a good thing. It's not going to go in a straight line. Bitcoin has so much liquidity now. Bitcoin has so many institutional players. So to counter the point, B-Flow, that you just made there, where you said, well, yes, so we've had less pullbacks this cycle. It's been the nicest pull, the most generous cycle that we've had so far, which makes it suspicious. I don't think it makes it suspicious. I think it's just a natural evolution of having so many players now in the game. Bitcoin's on the complete global space. There's no pulling back from Bitcoin being a global asset now. I mean, it's always been a global asset in the sense that it's stretched across the world, but now it has reached into the highest echelons of power. It's reached into the highest echelons of monetary policy, to the point where we're now regularly, every single time Jerome Powell steps out in front of the cameras, he has to answer a question about Bitcoin. That never happened. That would not have happened last year. That would not have happened back at the peak of back at the peak of the market in 2017, back at the peak of the market in 2021, back at the peak of the market in 2013. They didn't care about that. Now we have BlackRock recommending a 2% asset allocation to just about every asset manager. This stuff doesn't happen overnight, right? We're a lot of us are crypto degens. We see things go up 1,000% in a day on GMGN or on Dex Screener, and we're up like a couple 100% on Bitcoin overall. Those of us have been around for a couple of years, and some of us much more than that, and we just kind of get we want instant gratification, and that's a part of our society too. But these things just take long, slow periods of time, and that's why I'm very confident that while corrections are, of course, going to occur on Bitcoin, they're not going to occur in this like straight down all the way to the bottom. Look at Bitcoin and look at altcoins. It's not really, I want to be very, very clear about this. The de-risking is occurring. The selling pressure is occurring. But there is another phenomenon that is causing altcoins to go down 50 to 60% and Bitcoin to go down 7%. All right. And the reason why is just liquidity. All right. There's far less liquidity on these centralized exchanges in a ring around current price. Almost all liquidity is just within like 5 to 10% of current price. And once you dip into that and sell hard into that, it's not necessarily that the buyers aren't there, but the liquidity just is not there to absorb price, and you get crashes, right? That's just it. And that's why you get these quick recoveries back up, because similarly, just as there isn't liquidity to kind of prevent the crash from happening, there's not a lot of liquidity to prevent the buys from pushing price back up. That's why you get these really sharp, strong reversal trades. And I kind of want you to think about that too, in a way. This is why we see, for example, let's go to the BTC lower time frame chart here, and this will kind of help us. All right. This is why even when we see like bearish price action, right? It's not as if the buyers ever go away. It's just that sellers got a little bit more aggressive, and price is mean reverting, right? Price wants to revert to means. And we're just seeing kind of the long-term continued strength of Bitcoin. And that is why as this asset increases, as it gains in liquidity, as it gains in institutional players, it's just going to lose that edge of volatility more and more and more and more and more, because there'll just be more liquidity to absorb sell side pressure. It's harder to move price. That's why when the SPY has a bad day, but the SPY was down what, 3%? The NASDAQ down 3%, SPY down like 2.7%. And that was like, oh, this is the worst day we've had in a year. 3%? You know what I mean? Like in crypto, that's like nothing. That's like an hourly candle on Bitcoin. Like that's breakfast. So liquidity is a huge driver of price volatility, probably the biggest driver of price volatility. So that's where we're at. We're still at the 50% mark. The ultimate kind of top target goal based on this indicator is going to be around 370. I'm conservatively saying $350 to $375,000. That is a very enthusiastic, optimistic right-hand cycle, but it's also not impossible. We have reached the top of that logarithmic cycle every other previous time in Bitcoin's history. My conservative price target, of course, for 2025 is going to be between $175,000 to $200,000. I think we can easily do that. And I was expecting, of course, $120,000 by Christmas. I'm going to be honest, that's likely not going to happen. It is going to take some time to digest this. I don't think we're going to drop in a straight line from here. I find that extremely unlikely, if not impossible. And so we are going to see some form of bounce back up into the range, whether that takes a week, whether that takes 2 weeks, it doesn't really matter. But again, that is the trajectory that Bitcoin's going to be on. And again, worst case scenario, we go into a summer doldrum situation. We have a few months of consolidation until we get a more dovish stance from the Fed, and we can push back up to the upside. All right. Market top indicator. Are we anywhere near a market top? No, of course we are not. This is the MVRV ratio. Every previous other cycle, it has reached extreme levels of almost 5, 4, 3. So even if we were expecting diminishing returns, again, that would still be conservatively probably around 3.5, right? And we're just experiencing the same market value to realized value level of resistance that we experienced back over here. I would probably expect that even this pullback will not be as severe. Again, probably a higher low and finally a push back up. We're not anywhere near the take profit zone of the cycle. Looking at overall strength, investor strength and confidence in the Bitcoin market, despite this pullback, SOPR is continuing to climb at 1.06, which is an overall sign of strength in the markets. We are not seeing SOPR go down. So I'm really not seeing any on-chain weakness, any on-chain lack of confidence in Bitcoin on-chain. It's just not. And so it is these factors that I look at that makes me go, I try not to listen to all the fear and the panic that's going on out there, because if you listen to the fear and the panic on the news, on crypto Twitter, everywhere, it's going to make you make dumb decisions, right? Look at the charts, look at the data, look at the information and make your own decisions. Apparently I wasn't 125x long. No, only in my dreams, brother. All right. Looking at stablecoin dominance. Stablecoin dominance, as I pointed out, had sort of reached quite a strong level of support here, around 5%. This is approximately the same level that we experienced back in March of 2024, which of course was the top of the market at that point in time. And here, as we went into a bearish summer doldrums trend on Bitcoin, we went into a very strong bullish trend on stablecoin dominance. All right. And so it is a little too early to tell. Again, of course, we are forming a bit of an inverted head and shoulders pattern here. Sorry, right here. We are forming a bit of an head and shoulders pattern here with a breakout potentially occurring right here at about 5.77%. Again, we had a big fear drive right here, all right, that caused this a lot of stablecoin purchasing to happen. But we can see that just over the course of today, we had a lot of fear, and then it's like the market was like, oh, no, we should buy instead, right? So it's like a lot of people sold, and then a lot of people was like, oh, no, let's buy those altcoins back. Let's buy those altcoins back. Let's buy those altcoins back. So still too early to tell. We could, of course, be entering into an uptrend and a breakout here on stablecoin dominance, but we also could just be rejecting from resistance again, and we get a nice little push back down to the cycle. We get a nice recovery bounce from the broader market. Altcoins probably bounce back much harder than Bitcoin, back up to approximately the level at which we all broke down from, at least on Bitcoin, and then we can kind of reevaluate at that point in time. And right now, that's actually my highest probability scenario. Looking at Bitcoin combined with stables dominance, which is basically a proxy that we'll now be using for should we be investing in altcoins or not. Again, I drew this quite a while ago. This is like a week old drawing. I was expecting, following this dump, breaking out of the expanding kind of megaphone pattern that we've labeled this. We had a breakdown of the trend, a big drop down in stablecoin and Bitcoin dominance, and this is when altcoins surged, right? Basically from November 5th to December 5th when we had the flash crash. And we've seen Bitcoin and stable dominance ramp right back up, as I expected, basically to retest the breakdown from the trading range. Now that has occurred, there actually is a real scenario where we start to see altcoins become profitable again, where we start to see a mini bout, maybe a mega bout of altcoins actually outperforming BTC. And I know that's very brave to say after a huge, calamitous crash like that. But then we look at others USD. All right, this is the price performance of all altcoins relative to Bitcoin, excluding Ethereum, BNB, XRP. And so what we see here is, if we really zoom out on the weekly time frame, we can see that while we have been trading in a descending channel, and while we did come up and reject from the top of that channel, we're now back at the major moving averages. So we now are at a period where, okay, if we're going to break out, notice that this dip didn't go to the bottom of the trading channel. So again, this might have been, where we wanted to low. This did not come down to the bottom of the trading channel. This pushed back up. So it would be really nice to get a higher low and a push to the upside. A breakout of this trading channel is going to mean a renewed altcoin season. And we go down to the daily time frame and we see that this metric is also oversold, and this has performed very, very well at identifying altcoin bottoms previously in the past, right? Again, with varying degrees of strength on their bounce, but very accurately calling not only tops and bottoms, time transformation. Of course, probably most significantly catching the most massive of altcoins bottoms here on November 5th, where we just saw altcoins really go to the moon, and then again accurately predicting the top right here on December 7th, 2 days after the flash crash. And here we are again, potentially flashing on and off. You saw that there was a long signal there. It now flashed off, but we are oversold on this metric. There's the long signal again. So I don't think it's really insane to be looking to speculate on altcoin risk to the upside at this point in time. Again, you got to be brave to do it, but it is the brave who get rewarded in these markets. So that's kind of where we're at, big picture. Now let's dive down into the top 5 assets that we'll be covering. We're going to be looking at that Bitcoin Fed chart here in just a little bit. But to begin with, on Bitcoin, we do now have a bullish 5-minute trend. We have a bearish 30-minute trend, hourly trend. We have a neutral 4-hour trend, of course, a bullish daily trend. Key things that we want to pay attention to here on the daily is that price has, as I've kind of been talking about for a while, just really returned to the 30 DMA. Of course, today's wick was pretty scary and pushed us almost all the way down to the 50 DMA. All right, but those are our strongest levels of support in an uptrend. Our strongest levels of support in an uptrend. This 30 DMA, so approximately $95,000 to $97,000. This range is so critical, right? It is still possible that Bitcoin does what Bitcoin does. Honey badgers right on up from here, because every time we've had a dip down to this level, we have then gone on to make a new all-time high, right? We've literally done it one, two. Oh, we did it. Wait, yeah. 1, 2, 3 times. All right. Now, obviously, the trend is your friend until the trend bends at the end. All right. The trend is your friend until the trend bends at the end. So we want to be aware. We want to be cautious. We want to be able to respond. And it's very dangerous to see data shifting in front of you and not have the conviction and courage to sell, to move into stable coins, to move into USD, because you're like, oh, I don't want to sell the bottom. You don't want to think like that, right? When you see clear and convincing evidence that the trend might be changing, which we might be seeing over the next couple of days, you want to have that courage and conviction to rebalance your portfolio. Now, I'm not recommending anybody sell right now. What I'm saying is that we have potentially seen something that is going to shift us from the nothing but up that we've seen from November 5th to potentially move into something like consolidation. And you guys know me, I'm generally more enthusiastically bullish than anybody. So I'm not bearish. I do not want to flip bearish too soon, but it is irresponsible of me as a content creator, as somebody who advises people, to not point out the facts and to advise you guys to just keep your eyes open. We are at a pretty important area of the market. So tactical things that we can do. All right. Obviously we can take advantage of this dip. We can load up. We can watch really critically what price does. All right. On a bounce. All right. Do we reject and make a lower high? That would be a little, it would be a little scary. All right. Now, the last time we tried to play a potential hedge short, it didn't work because there was still much more strength left in the market. Potentially, we're seeing something different now, especially because we have that catalyst of that Fed data that I'm going to be going over. But overall, on the daily, we are in the daily buy zone. All right. We are consolidating at the daily point of control. We have come down and dipped and touched the 50 DMA, and we're sitting right at the 30 DMA, which is kind of the pivot point for the current trend. So listen, long swings from here do not make sense. I'm in one myself. All right. That's really all I'll say about the daily. Other than that, as far as the 5-minute goes, it's looking like we are going to be losing that 5-minute trend. So we might be having a buy opportunity come up here pretty soon. We had a deep dive down to 92,000, clap back up to 96, 97,000. We've consolidated here for the better part of the early afternoon, as we now are moving into mid-afternoon. And so we are likely going to see price pull back a little bit here. It's just going to be important to see what level do we hold. We are trading above VWAP, so we'll see if we can get some reaccumulation supported around 95,500. That would be kind of a critical area. But overall, the biggest things that we want to see is if we are going to swing to the upside, or if you do want to position into a long, I would like to see this low respected. I want to see this low respected. If we see this low respected and we put in a higher low, once you start to see some bullish price action, you can take a swing to the upside. I like that in the short term. But overall, I would keep profit targets relatively conservative for right now until we just have a slightly clearer picture, because Bitcoin could consolidate down here. So on the 5-minute time frame, key levels on the daily, we do have our intraday point of control coming in at 97,387. That's where Bitcoin just rejected from twice. Again, likely to get a little bit of a pullback here. Again, maybe between 93 and 95,000. watching for that break out of 97,650. So this is exactly, interestingly enough, one of our analysts, Reflex, was talking exactly about this in his post. You know, he said, hey, this was a great long, but now we're kind of at this resistance level. We need to see price kind of very cleanly break this 97,000 if we're going to just kind of continue on bullishly. So he's like, I would recommend taking profits in the short term on anything you guys scooped up under 95,000, and then waiting to confirm that we put in a higher low before re-entering and going for another leg back up to like 98, 99 for that actual retest of the breakdown point. I think that makes a lot of sense. All right. So essentially, just to summarize that, be looking for maybe entrances between VWAP, which is currently sitting at 95,674, and first standard deviation of VWAP between 92,745. So potentially looking at entries right around here, and then speculating on a push to the higher high. If this doesn't hold, if we get lower prices than that, that starts to look a little bit iffy, and you're probably just best to remain on the sidelines for now. I'm sorry, man. Listen, until the bull market continues, we're gonna have to keep running ads. All right, I gotta put food on the table, man. Also, we still have a bearish 30-minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour trend. All right. Okay. Well, we don't have a bearish 4 hour trend, but it's going to be a bearish 4 hour trend here relatively soon. So we haven't regained 30-minute momentum. We haven't regained hourly momentum. And in fact, for trend following traders trading on the 30-minute time frame, this would be a short entry right here. I mean, this is pretty classic, right? Deviation, take profit, bounce back up to our momentum band, enter into the short. Same here on the hourly, right? Deviation, take profit, bounce back to our deviation, to our momentum bands, and you go for the short. Right? It's just trend following trading. So I think both of those can be played simultaneously. So essentially, this does look like a good short-term short, back down to retest a higher low. Invalidation, of course, if we at any point close above above 97,520, let's say approximately. All right, now let's go to that. I want to go over this, okay? Because this has been very critical. So this is the weekly time frame. And so we often, you know, kind of forget. Let's even go back a little bit further because a couple of things happened, all right? So in January of 2024, we had not only the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs, which has really gotten a lot of credit for the bull market rally because of the buying interest. But again, remember that it's not just the buying and the selling. It is the confidence. It is the macroeconomic tailwinds that really create an environment where something can go up parabolically. And Bitcoin, perhaps more than any other asset, has shown over the last year to really benefit from key Fed monetary policy decisions. So not only did we get the Bitcoin ETF launched in January, the Fed remarkably pulled back on their language regarding rate cuts. Up until the January FOMC meeting in 2024, the Fed had been quite hawkish, talking about inflation, how things are kind of bad. The labor market's really, struggling right now. We've got to get inflation under control, and we are not in any way going to be, and they were talking about raising interest rates, right? Which was contributing to not a great environment. Now, of course, we did, bottom out, I think, based on just relative Bitcoin terms. And we already had kind of this rally into January based on, I think, the enthusiasm for the Bitcoin ETFs. And I think without the Fed announcement in January, I think this had the potential to be a buy the rumor, sell the news trade, right? Where, again, we're buying the rumor of the Bitcoin ETFs, selling the news. This was the narrative from a lot of content creators back then at that point in time. But then after the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs, the Fed comes out and they pull back on that hawkish language. And they say, well, we don't think rate cut. We don't think we need to raise rates anymore. And what happens? Bitcoin really starts going into it until the next FOMC meeting in March. All right. There was no FOMC meeting from January to March. Right? Or there was no February FOMC meeting. So we have Bitcoin ETFs, buyers get the opportunity to enter, but I think that could have been a sell the news event. But then the Fed pulls back on raising interest rates and the market rallies into the March FOMC meeting, where Jerome Powell did exactly what he did on Wednesday, where he came out and he said things are good, everything's fine, but we're not really sure when we're going to cut rates because things aren't really that good. So we're just going to wait and see, and we're just going to, be conservative about it. And what happened? The market stopped pumping. The market stopped pumping, and we entered into the summer doldrums because we no longer had those monetary policy macroeconomic tailwinds that were giving investors the confidence to just continue going into Bitcoin. So we went into a pronounced period of consolidation that lasted from March until September. And then what happened in September? We had the September FOMC meeting. Powell comes out, Big Daddy Powell, and we get our first big rate cut. All right, our first big rate cut in September of 2024. And what happens? The market rallies into that strength. All right, we get that first rate cut, September. Then December, FOMC comes. What happens? We get a second rate cut. But now, just like back in March, when we got no clear timeline on rate cuts, we got no clear timeline on rate cuts for 2025. And even a little bit worse than that, we got a walking back of what we were expecting 4 rate cuts in 2025 down to 2. So Jerome Powell taking the sails out of the markets with a breath and a whisper. Now, perhaps even more troubling than that, of course, we are seeing strength today from the cryptocurrency markets. We are seeing some nice bounce backs across the board. And guess what came out today? Inflation. Now, Powell said that inflation was starting to spike back up again. He said a lot more about it than that, but let's go take a look at today's inflation print. Here's core PCE. And it came in at 0.1. Okay. Underneath expectations. 1/3 of what it was last print. Look at that. Look at that bad boy. So of course we had a high elevated October and November PCE print, but December's PCE print right on target, underneath target. And I want you guys to understand that Jerome Powell had those figures in his hand when he spoke on Wednesday. When he said that inflation has poked back up and we have to wait and see, he knew that December's PCE print was underneath analyst expectations. He knew that. Okay. Let's get into the rest of the market. Couple other things. Actually, there are just a couple of things that I want to touch on in addition to that. All right. Now, I think we would be remiss if we didn't also address another elephant in the room. And of course, that elephant is going to be MicroStrategy. Okay. MicroStrategy is the best performing stock in the world in 2025. And since November of 2024, MicroStrategy has acquired $16 billion, that's Billy with a B, dollars worth of Bitcoin. Almost 160,000 Bitcoin. It's about 2% of supply. Or I don't know if that's 2% of supply, but in total, MicroStrategy owns about 2% of supply. Now, this coupled with the enthusiasm of Donald Trump's election on November 5th, coupled with the economic headwinds of the Fed's rate cut in September. And it wasn't just a rate cut, it was a rate cut with the promise of a second rate cut to come. 4 rate cuts in 2025, 2 rate cuts in 2026. Oh my God, we're opening up the floodgates. Let's go, buy everything. And then that just came crashing down 2 days ago. Now, again, I want us to look at where MicroStrategy's price is right now. MicroStrategy's price, similar to Bitcoin, is right back at where it was in November when it made the announcement to invest $16 billion, additional $1 billion in Bitcoin. All right. So this rally was short-lived. To be quite honest with you. All right. So we have to factor that in. Despite this announcement, if we factor back in again where Bitcoin is right now, relatively back at the levels back in November. So overall, Bitcoin's long-term gain from that was pretty minimal. And MicroStrategy shareholders have not really reaped the benefit of this investment strategy. And while I think Michael Saylor's fantastic in the long run, I mean, what their liquidation price is like $16,000. So people, you know, what was it? Not Charlie Shrem, but who's that like dude? Not Martin Scorsese, goddamn it. But his name sounds like that. He's that biotech guy, the biotech stock guy who got in a bunch of trouble, Skrelly or whatever. He posted on X earlier that you know, Michael Saylor's going to get liquidated or something, and Bitcoin's going to go to like I don't know, something stupid. I think he's completely wrong about that. But again, we look at things like this and we have to ask ourselves, is this going to be a factor for stagnation for a little bit in the cryptocurrency markets, similar to what we saw for the summer doldrums? All right. If one of the primary drivers for Bitcoin, which is MicroStrategy's aggressive purchasing of Bitcoin, if that fails to generate sustainable momentum to the upside here, and again, it's too early to tell. Excuse me. One pullback does not a failure make. But it seems as if, you know, we did all this so that MicroStrategy can get included in the index, and that so far has been a sell the news event. Again, I think kicked off by the Fed announcement. But here's the thing. I mean, obviously people knew about this. So why do you think we had the going back to that Bitcoin chart, why do you think we had, now looking back, why do you think we had the flash wick of December 5th? Why do you think we had the market wide dump of December 10th? Right? I think that was a coincidence? All right. So I think January 29th is going to be a critical date. I don't think we are likely to see a resumption of strong directional price movement until then. I think we're probably going to chop in a pretty big range, which chop is fine. We can trade chop just fine. I got the strategy all loaded up for it. Somewhere over here, somewhere. Oh. We got the strategy all day. We got the chop strategy all day. All day long do we have the chop strategy. Not a problem. Not a problem. We like chop. Morpho, by the way, very interesting asset. Kind of a new launch. But we'll get back to that. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about with regards to that? So we've got inflation data coming out on January 15th. But I think the key is going to be the FOMC meeting on January 29th and March 19th. All right. We need to see dovishness from the Fed January 19th or January 29th or March 19th. And if we can get those economic or monetary policy tailwinds back, Bitcoin can be, again, go back into a parabolic phase. That's about all I really have to say as far as the macro goes. All right. Except I will also point out that Bitcoin seems to be following the trend of global liquidity, which is with about a 13-week delay. All right. So we did have this good. And again, guys, listen, I'm not bearish. All right. I don't want to turn bearish. I definitely don't want to be bearish while Bitcoin is literally at support at that approximately $95,000 level. Understanding with 10 years now in the market that year-end volatility and liquidity is very, very tricky. We've got the equity market facing a massive futures and options expiration today, which kind of already occurred. And the PCE print that came out dovish. All right. We do, of course, have to confront the fact that the macro tailwinds are starting to fade. And they need to come back if we want to be trading in an environment where it's up only. So until then, I recommend you guys get a strategy that doesn't rely on buy and hold. If you guys want to make money from now until the resumption of the bull trend, you need to do one of two things. You either need to just hold. That's fine. And shout outs to you. Or you need to actually have a profitable trading strategy that doesn't rely on things going up 100%, that can target 5% price movements, 10% price movements, 15% price movements, that can trade a range, that can identify oversold opportunities, that can identify overbought opportunities. I think I know a place where you can do that. All right. All right, now let's cover the rest of the market. Ethereum, we have a bullish 5-minute trend. We have a bearish 30-minute trend, 1-hour trend, a bearish 4-hour trend. We're at the daily buy zone, at that daily 50 DMA level of support, at that weekly 10 DMA level of support as well. The 4-hour RSI is over recovering from being oversold with maxed out volatility. Awesome reversal signal. We saw those same signals on the hourly. We saw them, of course, on the 30. We saw them, of course, on the 5-minute as well. As far as today intraday, price is trading in the value area high after a very strong, nice short-term bullish trend that we've seen from Ethereum. Ethereum is now trading above the point of control at 3,386. It's trading above VWAP at 3,302. Again, overall, same kind of idea for the day. If we get a pullback, I would be targeting that area below VWAP and looking for a higher low to hold to trade to the upside. If we kind of pull back here, we can just see as far as the hourly is concerned, we kind of have reached the resell level. So for those of you just following the 30-minute trend, the hourly trend, and trading with the trend, you have your re-entry short opportunity right here. As far as the 4-hour, if things are going to be really bullish and we get a very strong bounce back up to something like, I mean, the 4-hour point of control is up at 3,918, 3,864 if I zoom back out a little bit. All right. But we do have that 4-hour 200 SMA, okay, which price has not back tested as resistance. So in the short term, I see price probably moving to at least 3,624. And overall, I think more broadly, I think we do see price able to come back and see 3,800. That seems the most likely scenario for me, especially, and I know I said it was controversial, especially if this oversold other signal does play out and we do see a strong bounce in altcoins here, which so far we're seeing. And the dovish PCE print does not hurt. The dovish PCE print does not hurt whatsoever. Okay. So let's see here, just looking right now, 30-minute RSI is almost overbought. Hourly RSI is not. 4 hours still pretty close to being oversold. The daily is down below the 50th percentile. So overall, the daily is kind of an attractive pullback buy spot right here. Volatility is not maxed out at a critical level of support on the daily time frame. And again, we juxtapose all of that with Bitcoin as well, right? Bitcoin at that critical level of support, holding 95,000 is super critical. Looking at Solana, we've got a bullish 5-minute trend, a bearish 30-minute trend, a bearish 1-hour trend, a bearish 4-hour trend. We do have a bullish daily trend, but that is starting to fade away. And, you know, I thought I was kind of crazy when I said support at 167, but look at where we went. Look where we went. Almost to 167. Now, as I say all this, I, of course, have to point out the kind of tried and true strategy of the altcoin degens, which is, I mean, back the truck up. Hell, Tom Lee of Fundstrat said, with regards to the SPY and the QQQ dip, he said, this is a back the truck up opportunity. That's why I said, I don't want to get bearish, man. I do not want to be bearish right now. All right. It doesn't make any sense to me to be bearish right now. It doesn't make any sense to me to puke bottom. Especially on Solana. Like you're in it now, dude. I think if you're selling down here, if you're selling Solana down here, you're a disgrace to your family. All right. You don't deserve to be invited to Thanksgiving. You don't deserve to get a present this Christmas if you're selling Solana right here. Key levels on the daily. I did not Here we go. Let's go take a, I was going to get to Jesus, but let's sneak a quick peek at it. We are below my entry. We are below my entry. So my average entry right here. Well, I mean, I know you sent me like some in the past, but you know, it's a very small amount. But you know, I bought some here, infamously making the market, you know, on that brief day. But you know, market doesn't care. Yeah, I like this, but listen, what's our kind of our max downside now is getting close to like only 30% on Jesus. So, I mean, Jesus is back in the accumulation mode, right? So even if you're playing the pump and dump trade, right, which is just the pop up, right? Those pop ups are 100, 150%, all right? And this pop up was 271%. So still a lot of potential. And then of course we've got potential of the monster rally right here. Don't need to sell soul for that to be true. Santa will not come to those who sell now. Yeah. Crypto Junkie asks, do all FVGs get filled? Fair value gaps get filled? If so, how long? No, all fair value gaps do not get filled. Fair value gap is a trading strategy, and like all trading strategies, it has a hit rate. So and like all trading strategies, it has seasons or periods when it performs really well and overperforms kind of the market average, and it of course has periods where it underperforms. Fair value gap trading is also a little subjective, right? Just like a lot of smart money concepts are. Smart money price action concepts are subjective. You know what, is your definition of, a breaker block or an order block the same? Do you identify block trading the same as ICT would, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Magnus just comes out with a statistic, 64%. Yeah, I mean, if your strategy is 65% or greater, then you're a profitable trader. And if your strategy is 65% or greater with a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, all you have to do is just do that for the rest of your life and you'll be good to go. But in reality, I mean, strategies have to evolve and change, with the market. But sometimes they also don't. Like I've been using literally like almost the same reversal strategy for like 5 years. It's the same concept. I've just kind of used different indicators. But with the things that perform really, really well, like my aggressive pullback strategy bots, let's go look at the aggressive pullback strategy right now. And it hasn't taken any trades for quite some time. It hasn't taken any trades since December 17th. So it's not designed to buy unless we have a bullish trend. I'm almost done with the vol strategy right now. Just having a slight issue with the code, but overall this was clocking in pretty good. All right. Where were we? We were on Solana. All right, let's finish up with Solana here. Key things to note. The point of control on the daily is 182.15, so that's where we're going to be. That's basically where our support is going to be. It's probably also where I'd be looking for re-entries on Solana on any dips. We are trading above VWAP right now, so a little risky to go to the long side unless we get a breakout of 193. That's where our current level of resistance is. Excuse me. All right. Value area low is going to be 178.95 down to 171.86. Our value area high is going to be 190.35, or wait, excuse me, 193.71 up to $200.80. Now, I did in my market report say that Solana most likely jumps back to about 200, 210 on the bounce back, because this is a pattern that we're going to see. All right. I want you to just look at Solana. And this is pretty much true of almost all cryptocurrencies. But look, Solana reaches a high, it sells off, okay? Disaster, catastrophe, all right? And then it bounces back about 50% of the distance, and then it sells off, and then it bounces back about 50% of the distance, and then it sells off, and then it bounces back about 50% of the distance, and then it sells off, and then it bounces back about 50% of the distance. All right. Yeah, Tyler, by the way, dude, I feel like I told you I was going to talk to you after the show like yesterday. Dude, I'm so sorry, man. My week has been insane. You know, I have my son over with me this week and so many things left to do. We've still got like 40 Christmas cards, no, like 36 Christmas cards to make for the senior citizens that we're going to deliver next week. I have like 4 church services coming up over the next 5 days. I cooked a lot of food today. Yeah, but also I feel bad because I feel like I completely forgotten about you until just now. So I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we'll chat after today's show. So yeah, anyways, price prediction on Solana, high risk trade, oversold conditions, but bounce back to 210, 220. The big question is, the question on my mind, guys, is not whether we get a nice bounce back, right? The question is, and honestly, you know, I gotta be honest with you, I don't think so. Except altcoins have the potential to overperform, which we've seen that before, which ironically came at previous cycle tops, right? Which I don't think we're at. But previous cycle tops, particularly in 2017, you know, Bitcoin topped, corrected quite a bit, and then altcoin just took off for another 3 months. Now, how likely is that? I don't know. XRP, on the other hand, super strong. I love XRP. I think XRP is probably going to bounce back here to probably about $2.50. We do have a bullish 5-minute trend, but we have a bearish 30-minute, 1 hour, and a neutral 4-hour trend now. Bullish daily. We pulled back to the 30 DMA. Didn't quite pull back to the 10 weekly moving average. Of course, big drive down into the value area low, huge volume spike. All right. Volume hasn't risen very much to the buy side here. So again, I do think we get another pullback here. But this was a big selling climax that we just experienced. And we can just see, you know, look, selling climax. All right. So we'll see. Value area high is going to be about 230 to 243. Value area low is 192 to 204. We are running the resistance on the 30-minute time frame and the hourly time frame. If we charge up on the hourly time frame, I'm seeing resistance at $2.40. XRP just came down, tapped the 4-hour 200 SMA. So bullish, very, very bullish. And we're just right back in that trading range. Still break out at this point at 250. I think XRP could still fly. I'm very bullish on XRP. That's all I'll say. Dogecoin. I'm really glad I de-risked my Dogecoin. Dogecoin probably bounces back to about 38 cents. We have a bullish 5-minute trend that's pulling back a little bit, a bearish 30-minute, a bearish 1 hour, a bearish 4 hour. All right. So again, let's be a little bit more conservative. Maybe a bounce back to 37 cents, which is where those 4-hour momentum bands are. Probably undershooting the 38 level of resistance. And that's if we're going to push and make a higher low or a lower high. All right. All right. Let's go over some of my failures. Okay. I did, of course, have some losses, and it's kind of ironic that I just wasn't patient. Like, I entered on the dip and I wasn't expecting the dippity dip, or my strategy wasn't anyways. Valid signals that were taken. I just took a little too many. So I had about 6 losses over the last 2 days. And that's okay. That's totally okay. They're all risk managed. I'm not down bigly. I've just given back some profit. That's okay. But those losses were JTO, WaxP, and Ordinals. All right. Yeah, I mean, you could pretty much pick anything. Pepe is still strong. All right. Okay, Pepe is still strong. All right, Pepe is still on my list of strong coins this cycle because it's an overperformer. So the reason Pepe is strong is because it's been strong, right? Of course, it's pulled back hard like every other altcoin. That's fine. To levels not seen since, oh, I don't know, 5 weeks ago. But yeah, Sui, Pepe, Aptos, Jito, Phantom, Ave, they're all there. People talking about the Aptos rug pull. I don't know about all that. But it's just kind of ironic that now that my stop losses have been hit on some of these trades that I took on the first dip, it's like, oh, well, now these look like great entries. You know, these look like great entries now. Yeah, so quite a lot of things look pretty good. Ohm still looks incredibly strong. Ohm has held up amazingly well. Ondo held up amazingly well. Link held up pretty well. Sui, very, very strong. JTO looks really good. Phantom looks really good, to be honest with you. As far as my holds go, I mean, honestly, all these look good for re-entries too, guys. You know, Avalanche, Polkadot, Ethereum, AMP, Blockstack. So I'm probably going to buy my Blockstack back. I sold half. I don't need all the money that I used. I already made the plays that I want to know, but I'm probably going to buy some more Blockstack back. As far as low cap things that I was playing, largely still holding because these are like meme coins, so I'm just holding. But Parcel, I did sell virtual. I sold 50% here and I sold 50% here, so I am out of virtual. I'm still holding Department of Government Efficiency. I'm still holding Wrapped Bitcoin and Incentive on Pulse Chain. I'm still holding Sundog on TRX, and I'm still holding Brett on Base. We already covered Ethereum, Nirvana Bug just a little bit ago in quite some detail. I'm still holding Bohm. And H-Bar looks strong too, man. H-Bar looks strong too. Again, very good performer. It's got the American coin flavor. I think American coins are going to overperform, continue to overperform in this cycle. And again, if others is any indication. So this is the key thing that I like to watch for. Where are we at? Others right here, right? Relative to the price of Bitcoin. We now have oversold conditions. And pretty much historically, oversold conditions on others has led to nice bounces. There's a rare loss. Again, catches this bottom, right? Catches this bottom, catches this bottom, caught this bottom, caught this bottom. Hold on. Little blooper if you guys little blooper if you guys heard that. Need to be holding 9mm on Pulse. Own the DEX and profit sharing. Price of the token doesn't matter. I mean, I feel like Richard Hart's holding a 9mm on me. But I will look into 9mm. I don't know anything about him. Is Dogecoin a good hold until Trump's inauguration? So, I mean, you're kind of talking about the idea of the Trump 2.0 rally. Definitely, I think if you ask most people on X, they're going to tell you, most people, I think, are convinced that the bull market's over right now. All right. And I think right now there's a lot of fear and panic in the markets. And I find it's always best to generally view those as buying opportunities, but with a caveat. It doesn't mean that it's the bottom, right? We could still go lower, but things don't just move down in a straight line. And so as the frenzy and fear and panic build up, they generally create buying opportunities, and he's been holding it on us for yeah he's been holding it on us for years. Do I think Doge will slide a lot by January 20th? No. Doge is actually one of my largest spot positions right now. Which one is better to buy, Solana or Ethereum? Ethereum's safer. Solana has probably more upside potential. But if you had to ask me which one is better to buy, I would say Ethereum. Ethereum and Bitcoin are going to get promoted heavily by BlackRock in 2025 in absence of them launching a new altcoin ETF. So that's a good fundamental. But yeah, Sui is, I mean, I would probably argue that Sui is probably better than either of them. So no, I don't think, I think Doge, if I was a betting man, and I am, I would bet that Doge will be higher in January than it is right now. All right, quick look at our low caps here. I think we covered most of them. Nero's pretty cheap. Popcat's very cheap. Beep, we're done on that. I don't even know why we still have Beep up. Really, those are the only things that I'm interested in over there. As far as meme coins, I'm not really interested in taking any new plays or positions. I'll really wait until strength in the market returns, and then I diversify deeper into risk. Yeah, Magnus is not incorrect. You're welcome, Nirvana Bug. Thanks for being on the stream. I appreciate you. Looking at global markets and commodities, we did see, of course, Zao gold respond quite positively today. It's still responding quite positively, roughly at this level, slightly trading above this level of support that we had at 22557, still above the daily 200 SMA, and deviating below the daily buy bands. Now, again, some are arguing that gold is kind of winding up for a second plunge down to the 200-day SMA. So either way, whether that's a return to the daily 200 SMA, I think likely that bottom, though, by the time we get down there, we see the 200 SMA is on an upwards trajectory. So I'm still viewing something around 2530 and 2550 as a good buying range for gold, and a higher push to the upside on gold. Silver has deviated below the daily 200 SMA. Now, on most occasions, all right, since 2022, this has been a buying opportunity. All right, any deviation below the daily 200 SMA has been a buying opportunity. There were a couple situations where there was some more downside in play, particularly in this situation, as we can see, where we traded below, back tested, and rejected as resistance. Whereas the did that happen here too? Yeah, either way, the key thing to watch for silver is either looking to take risk right now, or more conservatively, just once we close back above that 200 SMA, because silver is in a strong uptrend in the big picture. UNG is literally, I know you guys do not care about my stock trades, about my commodity trades, but UNG is the largest position in my portfolio right now, in my Charles Schwab account. And guys, Christmas is coming. Okay? Christmas is coming. Natural gas is going up, ladies and gentlemen. The price of oil is going down. The price of natural gas is going up. All right? I have it on good authority. So I will let you guys know when I'm out of my UNG trade. As far as oil futures are going, we've yet to get that breakdown below $67. All right. I am looking for $50. I'm looking for $44. I'm looking for $1.79. We do see, of course, the SPY bounced back on today's dovish PCE print following one of the worst days in history on the SPY, negative 2.94% in a 24-hour period. Massive volume, pushing the RSI into almost oversold territory. That's insane. All right, NASDAQ as well, having one of its worst days. All right, the QQQ dropping 3.61%. Again, just back into that daily buy zone that I talked about. Overall, I'm not too really scared here. This is all fine. What did we experience? This is July. We saw a big move down in July. 15% move down. 7% move down. But strong bull trend. Worst case scenario, another 7% down on the Qs. Worst case scenario, another 6.5% down on the SPY. So nothing to really worry about. Yeah, let's go look at Bitcoin. Yeah, so Bitcoin was able to get back above VWAP, back above the 5-minute 200 SMA, is currently pulling back. Again, broadly what I said, Reflex warned about this. Go check out his analysis channel in our Discord. And you can see this maybe just a little bit clearer from the hourly. And I said that earlier too. I said, hey guys, so, you know, we've got a bearish hourly trend. All right. Price is pulled back to resistance. All right. This is a principled level to short from. Set your stop right up here. So that's fine. Just for the short-term traders out there, that's absolutely fine. For the positional traders, all right, what we really want to see, this is fine. I wasn't expecting price to just charge back up. That's not how it works. But what we want to see is we want to see the low that was put in be respected. Okay. So I even said that. I said, hey, it's probably a good idea to get out and then look for your re-entries right here below VWAP and first standard deviation. We want to see this low get respected. So I would probably look for entries here. I'd probably cut risk if we start trading down into here until I see some sort of bottom. Okay. And just so you guys are very much well aware, I am 80% in Bitcoin right now. That's the exchange rate difference. Starman Jack, I would love to have you back in the Primo, brother. B-Flow, I think you could probably become a millionaire, dude. Do I think we can retest the 92K level on Bitcoin and double bottom? I mean, of course we can, right? Of course we can double bottom at 92K. It's just, you know, I would get nervous looking at this area, you know, for a higher low and then seeing price come down here. Because if price comes down here, then people are going to get worried. And if we start seeing panic selling again, then we're going to have another leg down, right? As much as that is going to suck. You know, because Bitcoin did get very, very, very oversold on on all time frames, except for the daily. But I mean, maybe it's possible, you know, if we're really going to rip into it, you know, the daily RSI is only at 46.03. I mean, we've already had a 15% pullback, and this has been kind of the most generous pullback cycle of all time. But like I said, I laid out what do I think the worst case scenario is? The worst case scenario, I think, is a 30% pullback. All right. 75, 74,000. By the time that happens, that 200 SMA is going to creep up, and that 200 SMA is going to be acting as support. And basically, I think if the worst case scenario plays out, then all we have to really do is go look at the SPY and basically see what something like that's going to look like, right? Like this. And then back at it again. So this is kind of like the worst case scenario that I think. Now, having said that, I think tactically, I think Bitcoin is in a good spot right here. We're at that daily, all right, critical level on the daily, 30 DMA. So don't get too worried about what's going on right here, right? Don't get too worried what's going on right here. The fact that Bitcoin was able to plunge that far, clap back all the way back to resistance. Let's go look at liquidation levels. This should be entertaining. I mean, just brutal, man. So like I said, we're kind of running out of liquidations. So if we go look at CVD, we should see that a lot of this is no longer futures driven. This is spot driven. What is going on? You're burning my eyes, for the love of God. This is cumulative volume delta on spot, and it's just been straight down. So we have some bid imbalances right now at about 93,900 to 94.43. So that's what I would be looking. I think that's a very tactical place to buy. Good night, Magnus. I didn't see you say good night, man. You know, I'm really liking these afternoon streams. We are getting quite a few people in here, man. Really want to thank all of you guys for being with me on this live stream. Like I said, if you're new to the show, we do this show every weekday from noon to 2 Central Standard Times. That's 1 to 3 p.m. If you like what you see, guys, we are trying to grow. You could help us out a lot by hitting the like button. Subscribe. Like I said, we do the show every single weekday. We're going to be here for the good, the bad, the bull, the bear. And I'm not here. I'm not going to ask you to buy a coin. All right. I'm not going to try to show my bags to you. All right. Pretty simple. I'm a private trader. We sell courses. That's about all we do. So if you guys want to help us out, smash the like button. I really appreciate that. And stick around. We will be here for another 40 minutes. We've had a great stream so far. 28 likes and 37 viewers. That's really good, guys. Really appreciate you guys. And I didn't really go check on Rumble, but we are growing on Rumble too. Some good guys in there. I'm bullish too, brother. Hey, no problem. Thank you, champ. Glad to see you here, man. Okay. Anything that I'm looking at particularly? No, kind of like I said, you know, we're entering that buy zone right now. For any, you know, so I mean, here's the bullish narrative. Here's what's going to happen, right? We saw US step in. The US stepped in and bought. All right. Then we had de-risking into the afternoon. Okay, that's fine. All right. Now, as the evening is going to be creeping up upon us with daily close, we are likely, of course, going to be closing higher. Okay. What's our daily? All right, so we're not going to be closing a bull candle. That's fine. We are going to be closing a hammer candle at support. Pretty good. All right. So just remember this level is pretty critical. Okay. Now, very, very clear here, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay. As bullish as I am, we have to respond to the chart in front of us. You guys are not going to be very happy with me if I sit here all night and say, oh, it's so bullish. Oh, we're going back. Oh, we're going to bounce. This is going to happen. But then if that objectively doesn't happen, you know, I can't just come in here tomorrow and be like, oh, I'll just buy more. I'll just buy more. I'll just buy, you know. I can say that because in the long run, if you were to just do that and then wait for 5 months, I think you'd be just fine. Okay. But I want to give you guys slightly more tactical advice, and that's not how I view the markets. All right. So I am and have been heavy in BTC right now. All right. Why? Sorry, let me find it. This chart. This chart, this signal. Okay. This chart, this signal told me to be cautious on altcoins. And we've had just absolute catastrophe. All right. Now, I've taken a few swings at altcoins over the last 2 days, trying to see if the dip was going to stop. Those didn't play out. That's all right. Because now we have a potentially contrary signal on altcoins. Okay. So the altcoins I'm looking at in particular are XRP. Okay. I'm still holding Doge. Okay. I've still got my Doge. The altcoins I'm looking at are XRP, Ohm, Ondo, Sui, JTO, Aave, and Phantom. Okay. Those are the ones and I'm going to be looking for I did not get a reversal signal on SUI on the daily. I did on the 4 hour. Okay. And it's pretty cool if we don't get daily signals. All right. So SUI, link. Okay. Let's turn bottom feeder off on the 4 hour. We are getting extreme oversold signals on SUI, or on Chainlink, excuse me. Potential movement back up to above 2478. Drop back down to previous support. Hammer candle on the daily. Overall daily is overbought though. Ohm. Ohm is very interesting, but I am waiting. I've been very patient on Ohm. Thank you, Scott. Glad to see you in here, brother. The problem with Ohm is that it is so strong, but you got to be very wary of these, you know, basically this happened over the course of a week. And then Ohm really hasn't done anything since. So are we distributing? Well, you know, we can kind of figure that out. So we can go down to like the 4 hour or the 1 hour, and we can just look at volume. And if we're distributing, then what we should be seeing, right? And this is going to be kind of hard to see. So I'll just bring with all my scribbles on the chart, but let's just pull up volume. This is the traditional trading view volume indicator. Okay. And is there any way I can make that like bigger? All right, about as good as it's gonna get. So what we want to see, if we're distributing, then, and this will help us. Let's get that volume moving average on. There we go. So what we should see if we are distributing is when price is falling, we should see volume rising. Okay. And do we see that? No, we see volume dropping and it rises on a pump. Okay, good. And then it drops on the dump. Okay, and then it starts rising here. And the dominant direction here is of course down, so that's a little concerning. Then we get a big volume spike here, and then volume rises as price moves up, but then volume stops rising here, and then volume rises precipitously on the dippity dip of December 10th. Now we get over here and we have price falling and we have volume falling, we have price rising, and here we have volume rising. So a little bit of a mixed bag, guys. But overall, I would say I lean a little bit more towards reaccumulation. It seems as if I see more instances of volume falling as price is dropping, indicating that the sellers aren't that in control. But on an asset like this, on something like Ohm, I just want to wait and catch a breakout. Dougie, good to see you, man. Crypto Junkie is bullish on Chronos, Osmosis, Cosmos. I mostly use the Kepler or Leap wallet, made lots of airdrops in the Atom ecosystem. That's good, man. I actually do have a ton of... see you, Lost Cyrus. I don't know if you're still here to see that, but thank you for joining us over there on Rumble, brother. And we will be back on Monday. I mostly use the yeah. I have Kepler. I literally have Kepler right here. All right, Kepler right there. So I got a big back. You can see I have a chart here that just shows these are all like my big holds that are mostly just left over from 2021, and Cosmos being one of those. And I do have a lot of Chronos on crypto.com. It's my biggest, it's my largest holding on crypto.com. Don't ask me why. What do I think about Squid Grow? I don't know anything about Squid Grow, man. I am not familiar with Squid Grow. Let's go back to Bitcoin and watch, see if we're going to get anything interesting happening. Again, guys, just to summarize, critical juncture point, Bitcoin holding $95,000, $97,000 here is going to be huge. All right. We're seeing stablecoin dominance trying to break out, which is not going to be good. If stablecoin dominance breaks out, it's not going to be good. But we're also seeing Bitcoin and stable dominance struggle, while altcoin relative to Bitcoin seems to be bottomed out and giving a buy signal. So as far as my 6-month, 9-month horizon, that hasn't really changed whatsoever. My short term, or excuse me, my medium term horizon, 3 months to 6 months, is now tentatively being pushed forward like 1 to 3 months until we can get a dovish print from the Fed. Until we need dovish posture from the Fed come January 29th or March 19th at the next FOMC meetings, because we need those economic tailwinds. Bitcoin has risen on monetary policy before, and I mean, Wednesday's FOMC meeting was so brutal, man, to Bitcoin right now. Scott says he has been in crypto for 3 months, worked my way DCAing, and in a solid spot. That's awesome, man. Wonder why when I transfer funds one coin to the other coin, the coin I transfer from DCA goes down. Do I know why? Hold on a second. Wonder why when I transfer funds one coin to the other, the coin I transferred from the DCA goes down. Like, are you saying that? Let me go back to, no, that was Crypto Junkie who said that. So if you're on, that's kind of weird, because I don't know where you're DCAing. If you're DCAing, if you're set up like automatically through the Coinbase app or through crypto.com, which are the two most popular applications to DCA, unless you have it set to somehow be like your DCA rule is like percentage of assets or like percentage of total capital. But yeah, it's kind of weird, because usually it's just, you know, you set literally the dollar amount that you want to DCA. You link the credit card, debit card, or bank account that you want to DCA from, and then, you know, just like I do. Oh. Are you saying the price of the asset or the value of your Bitcoin? Because if you had because if you're talking about Bitcoin's price being at 92,000 and then you moved money over to XRP and Bitcoin's price went down to 90,000, well, you're talking, that must have been like a month ago. But if you're talking about you had $92,000 worth of Bitcoin and then you transferred some of that Bitcoin to BXRP, well, you are going to have less value, because now you have that value in the new coin. So that $2,000 difference is now the value of XRP that you hold, for example, in that situation that you talked about. B-Flow, just damn it. I literally said that before you typed that in the chat, because I was just sitting there and I was like, I just need you to hold back, man. And it's literally the words leave my mouth. All right. F1. Hey, listen, man. I need everybody just go get a popsicle right now. Just go get a popsicle. All right, so far, Bitcoin dipping to the VWAP, putting in a bit of a bounce. That is nice to see. Let's not get too crazy. 30-minute time frame did look okay. Had a little bit of bear div on the 30-minute. All right. Still below the 50th percentile on the hourly RSI. All right, 4-hour volatility is coming down a little bit. We are just recovering from being oversold on the 4-hour RSI. Again, overall, this looks pretty good. Even if it is just going to be a dead cat bounce, we like dead cats. The intraday value area low on BTC is 91,959 to 93,787. Personally, like towards the beginning of the stream and throughout, I said re-entries on BTC likely in between VWAP and the first standard deviation, so between 95,690 to 93,788. So just right here, which is where we've currently bounced from. Not clear if this is actually going to push, much more likely a lower high, and then we actually get a more sizable buying opportunity. I laid out big picture kind of what I think the worst case scenario is on the weekly time frame. Wait, that's the daily. Why did that happen? So, and I went over why with regards to monetary policy. When the Fed pulled back on raising interest rates back in January, we pumped. In March, when the Fed gave no clear timelines and when we would actually give rate cuts, we stopped pumping and we entered into the summer doldrums. Then in September, we had our first Fed rate cut. And then in November, of course, Trump got elected and pop, 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 pop. And then what happened 2 days ago? Well, we got the second rate cut, but then we got lowered rate cut expectations for 2025. So what happened here in March that caused this pullback just happened on Wednesday. So while we did get a nice PCE print today, which is what that's the Fed's preferred measurement for the rise of consumer prices, right? It's the price consumer, whatever. That was dovish, man. That came in at 0.1, analyst expectation of 0.2. So all this idea of, CPI inflation, of course, energy is the biggest driver of inflation right now, and food prices, those are very volatile. But people mistakenly link inflation and rising prices are not the same thing. They're colloquially the same thing. So anyways, worst case scenario is a 30% pullback. We're already halfway through there. If we do get that 30% pullback, then we're looking at about $74,000, $75,000. So again, back to levels not seen since the beginning of November. Now we do have, I think, a high chance for a strong bounce here. And I think altcoins are probably, or have, and potentially will continue to bounce back stronger. It is going to depend. We have a daily close here pretty soon. It's going to be a bearish daily close. I doubt we're going to hard rally. So the question is, again, we saw Americans step in and buy. All right. So the question is, was this just the speculative American trade? They're going to de-risk. The big thing is, I mean, these are position buyers for the most part. The next question is, what is Asia Pacific and the European and Middle Eastern markets going to do overnight? Because again, for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, if you were an American and you went to bed around 9 to 11 o'clock at night, you would wake up to the market having strongly moved, usually pumped, right, for the long time. And that's because Asia Pacific, European and Middle Eastern countries came in and pumped that stuff up. So it's, what are they going to do is the question. And you're not going to know because you're going to be asleep. Unless you're just, crypto degenerating it, which if you are, like, let's respect. So I think there's definite room here. I have a long swing open on Bitcoin. I have a long swing open on 2 other assets, on altcoins. And we'll just wait and see. Should see Bitcoin be able to bounce back. It's kind of, well, listen, it's still possible that we just push, right? I don't want to be bearish. I don't want to be bearish. There's no point in being bearish right now. Okay. Now, I think if we take out this low, inverse reaction in Australia, we go to bed if the United States wrecks us. So right. So I think, it's not just, and I bet the Asia Pacific feel the same way. I bet they go to bed and they're like, oh, we go to bed and then We go to bed in the Americans, they fuck us every time. Crypto degen with 4 kids. Yeah, man. I have 3. One of these days, it's probably gonna be 5, right? So, right. So I'm sitting, you know, it's not just an American problem. I feel it's probably like a worldwide problem. All right. Let's do a quick vibe check here. 5 minute. Looking like lower high. Yeah, Profit Bear's got 6, man. Just one kid. Just one kid. What, do you got him in the dirt, F1? You watering him? Ethereum, same price behavior, kind of reached the value area high intraday, pulled back to the daily point of control, weak bounce so far, probably dips a little bit lower. Solana, same thing, grinding that 200 SMA. So far, overall, all the assets are pretty much just rejecting from the hourly and 30-minute momentum bands. Dougie went in long at 97K, but went way lower leverage than I normally go. But hopefully, I catch the pump and can raise my leverage and get some nice gains. That's good. I mean, I have a 2x leverage on BTC, because when, you know, we'll go look at my. Here we go. So here's my aggressive pullback strategy, right? This runs on the 5-minute time frame, and this uses high leverage and high positions. But this only turns on, all right? This only turns on when we have a strong bullish trend, all right? A strong bullish trend. And when we don't have a strong bullish trend, we don't do that. And I don't see any point. I've been doing this for a long time. My reversal strategy is what's activated right now. So I'm looking for pullbacks. I'm looking for dip buys, but I don't see any point in maxing out leverage on reversal strategy type trading in crypto. Yeah, I'd rather just be patient, because the market's not going anywhere. As long as there's volatility, there's opportunities to make money. So whether that happens next week, next month, next year, it's fine. You know, the desire to get rich quick is very dangerous and seductive in the crypto markets, and I've seen it ruin so many young men's lives. It's sad, really. When if they just, you know, focused on doing all the things that I advocate for, you know, get your health in good shape, get your mind in good shape, get your soul in good shape, right? Try to make as high of an income as you possibly can, work your ass off, invest wisely, buy low fee index funds, avoid mutual funds like the plague. They're a fucking scam. Buy low fee index funds that cover the broad market, and buy Bitcoin, right? Do all of that and then learn how to trade. Because trading is something that can replace your 9-to-5 if you get good at it. But it really, really helps if you have a decent bankroll to start with. It really helps. You know, they sell this idea in crypto that you can just really come in and like 10, 20x. And only if you're patient. Only if you're patient. Only if you're patient. Let's take a look at kind of some interesting assets that I have on my watch list. Drift. Obviously did their airdrop. Overall popped pretty nice. Pulled back down a little bit below previous support. We do have an active bottom feeder signal right now, looking for a profit target of $1.22 and validation at 86 cents. Camino Finance, KMNO, very strong bullish trend, strong uptrend. Pulled back down below. So far, no reversal signals yet so far. Cloud. Spot on ByBit is giving a buy signal. We have had 2 false flags before, but that's actually good. What I've noticed is the pattern that, you know, my reversal system will, if we're in a strong bearish trend, obviously buy, right, DCAN, but it doesn't DCAN. These are just losing trades. It is what it is. But if it gets too wrong, usually the third one is pretty strong. So cloud here doesn't look too silly. All right. Invalidation at maybe 15.5 cents. Potential bounce back to about 26 cents, 30 cents, and 34 cents. Rootstock on the XRP network are getting a bottom feeder signal. Okay. Potential bounce up to about 3.45 cents. Maybe invalidation at 2.02 cents. But besides the bottom feeder, we're not quite yet oversold on the daily. Zig, we are oversold on the daily. We are getting oversold levels on time transformation and CM Laguerre. No bottom feeder signal, but overall this looks quite good. So Zig, potential invalidation at 0.098. Take profits at 13, 15, and 16. So Zig looks pretty good. Kusama, not oversold yet, unfortunately. E-Gold, bottom feeder signal, third day in a row. We are getting to be oversold, but only on one metric, so I would avoid. ESS on Ethereum, nothing yet. Proxy on base is oversold, but has not generated a buy signal yet because there's been no bullish price action. But I'd say that's slowing. That selling is really like slowing down. No buy signal on Nero. The Gari network, which we kind of looked at earlier, this is exactly the zone that I talked about a potential pullback. We're not quite there yet. Active bottom feeder signal though on today, so potentially moving up to 0.013, invalidation at 0.008. Sui, nothing. Mantle, nothing. Morpho, nothing so far, but Morpho isn't a strong uptrend. Does not seem to know what down is. Morpho. Link, no signal yet. So that's kind of all the interesting stuff that I have on my watch list, in addition to all the other stuff that I have on my watch list. F1 says, do I think IOST will wake up or is it dead? I was wondering why I got 21.26% max APR on Binance. Yeah, no shit. So IOST, interestingly enough, is on my watch list right here. So I just kind of want to point out the last time that we were, you know, like in a bear market, right? Or in a bearish trend. And then we rallied this time too, right? This time too, kind of we were in a bear and we rallied above the 200 SMA. And then we at least went for a second strike, right? Here, this looks very similar to what we had where we consolidated, we accumulate, we rally up strong above the 200 SMA, we pull back, and then we go for a second push. Then we pull back, and then we go for a third push. And then when we finally break down below, that's all she wrote. So I think we're in a similar situation right now where we consolidated underneath the 200 SMA, we rallied, we pulled back to the 200 daily SMA, we go for another rally, pull back again, and then go for a third. I mean, we're at support, man. These are the big, listen, I'm just saying for the altcoin degens out there, man, like these are the dips you guys were praying for like just 2 weeks ago. You know, you guys were selling, you'd sell your kidney if you could just, you know, buy 50% lower. Well, now it's here, man. And it's never easy to buy the dip. All right. It's never easy because you never know if you're going to be right or wrong, guys. I love doing this show, but these on days like these, all right, days like these are hard, man. Because you don't think that you don't think that I sat and looked at my portfolio for like 4 hours this morning and thought about what was the right thing to do? You don't think I have to weigh my own personal financial interest with my investments and my trades with having to come on the show and being calm and confident and optimistic and saying, you know, good things? Again, I'm not saying I bullshit you guys, absolutely not. But it, you know, kind of takes you know, it's easy like when price is going up, you know what I mean? Like everybody's an expert when price is going up, but it's really hard to stay calm and measured and relaxed and careful and cool and calm and stick to the plan and stick to the strategy when everything's going to shit. I mean, everybody's fucking terrified right now, dude. Let's go to Twitter, man. We only got about 12 minutes left in the show, so this is usually where we'll go to Twitter and shitpost. So let's get it going, man. Shout outs to Jack Skellington, man. So yeah, let's just, you know, everybody's absolutely going crazy about the Donald Trump. Oh, come on, Sharon. There we go. Everybody's just going insane about this whole like Donald Trump thing. And what's so funny, like I'm outraged. Do you know how outraged I am right now? I am outraged that Elon Musk is the first billionaire ever in the history of the United States to influence politics. I am so outraged that Elon Musk is the first ever, the first, none ever came before him, the first billionaire ever in the history of the United States to influence politics. And I am just loving all the tears that I am seeing right now on X from all of these crybabies. Talking about, and again, it's all just typical rhetorical, slanderous language, right? Like, oh, he hates kids. They cut cancer research. Like, okay, it's just so stupid, man. These people just target like low IQ voters, man. Right? Like, just listen to this rhetoric, man. The out-of-touch billionaire running the incoming Trump administration announced last night that he enthusiastically supports the neo-Nazi party in Germany. All right? It's so insane. It's so insane. Okay. What's going on, yes to crypto? Is El Salvador doing a speculative attack on the International Monetary Fund? Just one day after the IMF agreed to a $3.3 billion loan in return for making Bitcoin acceptance voluntary, El Salvador buys $1 million of Bitcoin, more than 10 times their usual 1 Bitcoin per day purchase. I guess the IMF won. Oh, man. Sticking it to the man. Oh, what do you got to say, Hawktua? I take this situation extremely seriously and want to address my fans, the investors who have been affected, and the broader community. I am fully cooperating with and am committed to assisting the legal team representing the individuals impacted, as well as to help uncover the truth, hold the responsible parties accountable, and resolve this matter. If you have experienced losses related to this, please contact Berwick Law using the link below. All right, so listen, I'm going to give credit. I'm going to give... Get her, Zach XBT. All right, like, so credit to you for being the only founder I've ever seen who recommended an actual law firm to those who lost. But, you know, just got to spit on that thing. All right. And just give a little Hawktua, you know, and just market dump on all your fans and followers. Oh my, like, what is this, dude? Trump is now threatening to impose tariffs on products from the EU unless they make a large-scale purchase of our oil and gas, making oil oligarchs more billions at the expense of every other American consumer and working class mag or sheep. I can't, like, the stupidity. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. All right. Okay. Alex Kruger. Well, listen, if people on Twitter are saying the bottom's in, then we're definitely going down. The bottom is in, according to Alex Kruger. The pain overnight was extraordinary. Largest alts drop in 2 years. Dead whales washing ashore. Assets such as Solana retested day one of the breakout. Very large correction in equities as well, followed by rabid buying on a low inflation print. Nvidia chart finally looks good again, all against the backdrop of unchanged fundamentals and a Powell optimistic on the economy. No economic data ahead for 2 weeks. But Bob Lucas saying that we see a lower low. What's going on here, man? How about that pin bar? You got Solana at 177. Well, you're a sexy man. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean, listen, guys. My overall feeling is that we bounce here. Local bottom's probably in. We cannot, but listen, guys. I'm like one of the biggest bulls in the room. All right. Others, altcoins relative to Bitcoin price performance is finally oversold for the first time since November 5th. Okay. Oh, sorry. This is the wrong chart. You guys know what happened after November 5th. Big rally. So we might now be ready for alt season level 2. Okay. Oh, brother, you're going to get it. That certificate is signed, sealed, and delivered, man. You can take that to the credit union. You know what I'm saying? Bitcoin SOPR remains good. Where we're at in the cycle, nowhere overheated. Nowhere near a market top on Bitcoin. All right. Stablecoin and Bitcoin dominance going back to the trading channel, like I said, and currently rejecting. Stablecoin dominance trying to break out, but so far unsuccessful. We got to keep our eye on that. All right. But we can't ignore this, okay? Don't ignore this. That Bitcoin and monetary policy go hand in hand, all right? Whether we like it or not. Bitcoin is a global financial asset now. The Fed's pulled back on raising interest rate, or excuse me, the Fed's pulled back on raising interest rates. Bitcoin pumped. Feds gave no clear timeline on rate cuts. Some are doldrums. First rate cut and huge optimism about future rate cuts. We were going to get another one in December, 4 more in 2025, 2 more in 2026. Sky's the limit. Jerome Powell, Daddy Powell, money printer. Woo! And then what happened 2 days ago? We got the same kind of announcement that we got here. All right. So worst case scenario is a 30% overall chop down. Again, not straight line, guys. Not straight line. I don't like the idea that that we're just going to go down 30% in 2 days. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. But we are probably going to chop down. All right, we're at critical support right now. I would love to see a bounce. I'd love to see a bounce back up to mid-range. All right, bounce back up to mid-range. If we then keep going, we can just forget all the bears. The bears will just get, shucked, quartered, and tossed to the side. All right, but let's be realistic. We get a bounce back mid-range. Okay, we do need to be cautious. All right. All right, we got 5 minutes left in the show, guys. Yeah, I am really, listen, obviously I know it's like a big day down in the markets and we obviously get a lot more viewers on big down days, but I do think the afternoons are better for the show anyways. As I said, just from a logistics perspective, from a competitive perspective, in streaming, there are things known as kingmaker slots, right? Or the kingmakers of a particular time slot. So you have to view streaming kind of like a TV show, like a time slot on a TV channel, right? Like, people, the vast majority of people have the primary programming that they want to watch from like 10 to 11, from 11 to 12, from 12 to 1, from 1 to 2. And, we're not the smallest channel out there, but we're not huge. And it's just very, very hard for us to compete in the morning against all the other trading channels because we get drowned out by traditional finance channels anyways. But during the afternoon, all of the big ones kind of go offline. So we're going to revive the noon to 2, which was historically our original time slot when we used to have hundreds of people on here. So that's what we're going to be doing, guys. All right, guys. That's about all she wrote, guys. I want to thank you guys so much. All right. Yeah, and Peckham, you're absolutely right. I mean, you remember, dude. Peckham, you were here years ago, right? So that's exactly how it was. We had a mixed bag. We had the UK crowd in here, and then we had the Australian crowd in here, Starman Jack, and then we had the Americans, right? The work from homes, the crypto degen Americans. So yeah, it's just kind of the best possible scenario for us. And we had so many, guys from the UK and in the premium, and guys from Australia, and it was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, dude. Peckham's basically like an early investor. He's like a seed investor in Kraken Crypto at this point in time. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching until the end of the stream. Very much grateful to those of you who are live and those several hundred of you who will watch this back on demand afterwards. I really appreciate you guys' continued support of the stream. Of course, if you value what we're doing and you want to help support the mission, please like and subscribe. You can subscribe and follow to us on YouTube, Rumble, and X, where we live stream every weekday from noon to 2 Central Standard Time, UTC -6. We will be back on Monday, ladies and gentlemen. I will be streaming on Monday. I'm not taking the whole week off, despite the many protests in my family, but I have to strike when the iron's hot. We got to grow the channel. We got to grow the company. We got to get back to where we were. And so the only way to do that is by being there when everybody else is sleeping. All right. So I will be back on Monday. I will, of course, be taking Christmas Eve and Christmas off, but then I will be back. I will be back the day after Christmas. All right. So don't go anywhere. All right. As I said at the beginning of the show, the big things that we have going on right now is, of course, our Christmas season trading competition. You can go sign up for that over on BYDFi, the exchange partner of Kraken Cryptocurrency. Not only get yourself a VIP level 1 fee advantaged account that's 17% off all of your trading fees, access to over 600 pairs, demo trading so you can test your strategy out without risking any actual capital. It's KYC and VPN free, so if you live in a restricted country, BYDFi has got your back. Do not let oppressive laws keep you from profiting during the bull market. Go check out that opportunity. We do have our Christmas season trading competition with over $2,300 in prizes that we are giving away to 80% of that to the top 5 traders, and then 20% of those prizes to traders who simply trade over $100 in USDT volume. So go check that out. BYDFi, official exchange partner of the channel. And then if you like what you see, if you want to learn how to build a strategy the exact same way we build strategies, use our automated systems, get access to our private community, our weekly mentoring, my fully unlocked alpha reports every morning and evening. You guys can check that out at Kraken Cryptocurrency. And like I said, we are going to be running that holiday season special from this evening. It's not live yet. It'll be live in about 1 hour from this evening until January 1st. All right, 30% off all annual and monthly memberships. All right, again, you get access to my fully unlocked alpha reports every morning and evening, access to our weekly mentoring sessions, access to our private Kajabi community, access to our dozens and dozens and dozens of courses, from everything on risk management to technical analysis to automation to Pine scripting, all of that and more. And I mean, so much stuff, man. So much stuff's in that thing. So it's my life's work. 30% off all annual and monthly memberships. KrakenCryptocurrency.com. Use promo code SANTA. That's capital SANTA, Santa, at checkout. Get 30% off the store. We will be back on Monday, guys. Trade safely. I think we're going to have some nice bounces from here, okay? But watch weekend chop volatility. The big players are out, so it should just be the crypto degens basically just broadly buying things up. That should go good unless like we just get like the normies coming in and panic selling, right? So we need to avoid that. So don't be so blinded by greed that like if you see things start to break new lows that you're like, oh, like no, I'm gonna hold my long. If we hit 92 and keep going down, you need to be out, man. Like not like out long term. I'm just saying if you're in leverage positions or if you're taking short-term speculative trades, betting on a bounce here for profit, it's fine if you're holding 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. That plan hasn't changed whatsoever. 2025 is going to be great. But if you're playing short-term speculative trades, especially with high leverage, you got to be able to react in front of you. So far, things look good. I think we're good for some clear skies over the next couple of days, maybe moving into the next week. But just keep your wits about you. Don't be so stubborn that you're not willing to shift your strategy or have a stop loss or see the exit conditions when they occur, and protect yourself above all else, guys. Be good to one another. All right. God bless you guys, and I'll see you on Monday. Cheers now.